me get the mic. Honey, I got something to say. Ooh, I like that. Can you turn that up for me? No, like, it's Maja. But you know, Maj for short. Ask Maj.
What's up? What's up? It's your girl Maj, and we are back with another episode of Ask Maj, the podcast, where I am spilling all the real tea. So let's get right into it. Maj moment of the week, of the day, of the month, of the year, or however long you need to hold on to this specific Maj moment. So this is something I just want you to kind of reflect on. And this comes from a conversation that my family and I had this past weekend over Father's Day. And yes, happy Father's Day to all the fathers. We'll get to that in just a second. But this comes from a conversation that I had over the weekend with my family. And we talked about the meaning of success and what success looks like. And so the conversation was centered around, you know, how everybody searches for this American dream. Everybody searches for fame and wealth and riches and, you know, to be on top, and so on and so forth. But when you really think about, you know, being, you know, famous, I guess, what is it that you're really going after? You know, what is it about fame that you're really going after? And why is it that you pursue what you pursue, or why is it that you do what you do? And we got into the conversation just about the comparison between, you know, there are some people who have, you know, so much money and then they're so miserable, right? So they're always, you know, searching and looking to fill a void when they have everything that we think, you know, is worth having, you know, but they're still miserable. But then there are some poor people, you know, around the world, and sometimes, you know, they seem to be some of the happiest people. So, food for thought. When you think about your purpose and you think about, you know, your passion and your career and what you're pursuing in your life, think about this. Ask yourself this. What does success mean to you? What does success look like for you? Is it, you know, being viral on Instagram or being Instagram famous? You know, is it being a social media influencer and everybody knowing your name? Is it inspiring, you know, the few people that, you know, listen to your podcast or shop at your business or use your services? You know, is success, you know, having, you know, the opportunity to buy something or actually having that thing? Let me break that down. So my mom mentioned, you know, she brought up like having a Lamborghini. You know, and a lot of people think like, you know, having a Lamborghini or a fancy car or a fancy house is, you know, what makes them happy, you know, what success looks like for them. And I kind of chimed in and I said, you know, I see that. I can see how people think, you know, fancy things, so on and so forth, are what's worth being, you know, successful. But my thing is this. When I think about success, it's not necessarily having the Lamborghini. It's about being set up and financially free to have the opportunity to buy that Lamborghini if I wanted to, not necessarily having the Lamborghini. Because, you know, I see on Twitter and Instagram all the time, you know, you have, you know, people flexing and, you know, with bags and fancy things and luxury this and brand name this, and their credit is bad, you know, or they're heavy in debt, you know, so on and so forth. So I think for me, it's more of the opportunity and knowing that I'm free enough or wealthy enough, and not wealthy just with money, but with knowledge and wisdom and good decision-making skills, that if I wanted to purchase a Lamborghini, I could. And so, yeah, I want you to think about that. Like, what does success look like for you? You know, being financially free. This is for me now. Being financially free, you know, being able to spend as much time with my family as possible. You know, when I have kids, like being able to drop my kids off with my mom and dad when me, you know, and my husband want to take a trip the next, you know, or have lunch in Paris the next day. Like, just being free to do what I want when I want. And always having that family support there. I think that's what success looks like for me. And then another thing is, a lot of people look for, the fame and the attention and the followers and the fan base and all that stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think for me, sometimes I had to go back to, my true purpose. And my mission has always been that if I can inspire one person, then my goal is fulfilled. And I stand by that to this day. And I'm going to be honest, I think when you're chasing a dream, especially when it has something to do with being, influencer status or, being in the spotlight, sometimes we do lose that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we kind of lose where and why we started. So I always just have to like go back. And sometimes, when people reach out to me and text me and DM me, they say, hey, you inspired me with this, or hey, this helped me get through the week, or this helped me to, stay motivated or be motivated. That brings me back to my purpose. It's truly to inspire. And if it's just one person that I've inspired, I know that my job is done. I know that my goal is fulfilled. So when you're thinking about, what you're pursuing and what your goals are, family goals, career goals, so on and so forth, ask yourself, what does success look like for you? What does it mean to have success for you? So just a quick little food for thought. So yes, happy Father's Day. I know I'm a little late, but yes, happy Father's Day to all of the fathers out there. Y'all deserve it. Happy Father's Day, and happy Father's Day. And so I was on Instagram scrolling, and I just thought this was such an amazing moment. It really was it touched my heart a little bit, but Kelly Rowland talked about her experience meeting her biological father for the first time after he spent years searching for her. I think it was more than 30 years or so that they were searching for each other. And this was a while back, but she just now opened up about it. And it just really touched my heart. So this is what she said. I won't read the entire caption, but I definitely encourage you to go read the story. It will touch your heart. She said, this was the day, this was a picture of her and her father. She said, this was the day I met Christopher Lovett, my biological father. This was honestly one of the most pivotal moments in my life. After 30 years of not seeing him, not speaking to him, what would that mean? For me, my family, my psyche? Well, this day in October of 2018, I would find out. I finally found him, set up the meeting, and at this time I was filming American Soul. When I tell you I was petrified, I was walking to meet him and my feet suddenly felt like they weighed a ton. Needless to say, I was overcome with anxiety and I had a full-on anxiety attack. In that moment, I felt like the abandoned 8-year-old. My team calmed me down, and as soon as I turned the corner, in my head, I was cursing this man. Why didn't you come find me? Did you love me? Am I worthy? And when I looked at him and he looked at me, nothing came to my lips, not one word. I felt the Holy Spirit say to me, listen. So I don't know. I just thought that was such a heart-wrenching story, that she was able to reunite with her father, and it ended well. And I think that's what a lot of people search for. I know I have friends who have lost fathers, or, who haven't had the opportunity to have a father in their life. So stories like that are just so touching, and I think that they represent a little bit of hope. So shout out to Kelly Rowland for opening up about her story meeting her biological father. All right, moving on. Juneteenth was litty. Okay, shout out to everybody who got off for Juneteenth, and shout out to the outpouring and support for Black owned businesses. Like, y'all did y'all thing. When I say Juneteenth was blackity black, like it was blackity black. So shout out to all my Black folks. Shout out to the Black community. We did that. And I just pray and I hope that you had an amazing Juneteenth. I spent my Juneteenth on the road, traveling to see my Black family. So we had an excellent celebration, and we kind of mixed it a little bit with Father's Day, and we did games, and we celebrated Black culture, and I bought Black hair products, and it was litty. It was litty. Oh, what a time to celebrate Black people. And I definitely hope that we keep that energy going. Keep that same energy. And yes to Miss Teyana Taylor for dropping this gift, okay, on Juneteenth. When I say that was the best Juneteenth present, yes, ma'am. Let's get into the album, Teyana Taylor's The Album. First of all, if you have not listened to the album, it is an emotional roller coaster. Oh my God. I mean, she took you from just, sadness to like going down memory lane to in the club winding to rolling your windows down, feeling good, happy, motivated. I want to dance with somebody. Like that album just it's a feel good album, emotional roller coaster. I mean, you go through it. And the good thing about it was she broke down the albums into, I guess she calls them studios. And it's Studio A, Studio L, Studio B, Studio U, and Studio M. And it spells out album, which I thought was really creative. And it's called The Album. And she tweeted, she said, "You can listen out of order to match your feelings at the current moment." So yes, T, when I need to, when I have a certain feeling, I can listen to a certain studio of the album. So that is so lit. Love the album. And honestly, I haven't even had time to really digest the whole thing. Like I need to listen to it over and over and over again. And I'm so excited because this album, I believe, has 29 songs on it. And her last album didn't have that many songs. So I was so glad that she gave us a little bit more to hold on to, a little bit more to carry. And I think it was just excellent, that she dropped that on Juneteenth, again, celebrating Black people. All of the features, Quavo, Lauryn Hill, like what? How did you get Lauryn Hill? Oh my gosh. Erykah Badu, all of these amazing people. And Teyana has always been big on honoring and paying homage to those people who have come before her. And so I love the kind of twist, the kind of spin she did on, 90s R&B, the samples, that she added in. I just love that. And shout out to Quavo, I liked his little part. I liked his little part on Let's Build. He had a little burst on there, a little feature. So I really like that. Some of my favorite songs from what I've heard so far, Wake Up Love, like that is my song. And I think I'm obsessed with the song because of the video. I don't know. I love that song. Low Key with Erykah Badu. First of all, I love Erykah Badu, so I might even be biased on that. But they killed together. And then the feature with Quavo, Let's Build. Like oh my God. And let's not even talk about Come Back to Me. First of all, Junie deserves a Grammy. Like, Teyana, move to the side because Junie is on the way, okay? She's on the way to the top. Sis is making her way. I love it. She has her own little clothing line. Sis is a model, and now she on the track. Sis says she is a jack of many trades. She is coming up, okay? And like she said in that little Instagram post, she said, let's just say I'm a boss, okay? Yes, Junie, you deserve a Grammy, okay? So shout out to Junie. Shout out to Teyana for that amazing album. Definitely going to carry me through the rest of the year with that one. So moving on, Kim Kardashian, according to, I believe it was the Wall Street Journal, she just signed a deal with Spotify for a new podcast. And it's supposed to be about wrongful convictions. And on the podcast, she's discussing seeking justice for those who have received unlawful convictions and excessive sentences. Ooh, that's a tongue twister. And so it's supposed to be focused around the work that she's done with the Innocence Project, which is a nonprofit organization that works to exonerate wrongly convicted individuals. So we'll see how that goes. Now, Spotify hasn't made a comment about it, nor has Kim Kardashian. Like I said, the news came from the Wall Street Journal. So we'll see how that goes. It sounds a bit interesting. And I mean, it seems like she's been doing a lot of work in that area. So I don't know. It may be cool. We'll see how that goes. Moving on. I finally watched the Dave Chappelle stand-up on Netflix. I'm sorry. I don't know if it was on Netflix. I can't remember where I watched it. That don't matter. I watched it. First of all, I wouldn't call it a stand-up. He talked more about serious issues. It was really good. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. I definitely encourage you to watch it if you have not watched it. But the one thing that I really found interesting about what he said, he talked about our reliability and dependability on celebrities and them speaking up about what's going on right now, just about like racial injustice and, everything happening around George Floyd and, the lives that have been lost, at the hands of police officers. And he said something very interesting. He said that, he said that he chooses, to not necessarily be silent, but he doesn't speak up in these particular situations because he's not a part of the streets. I hope I'm describing this correctly. But basically he was saying he doesn't understand why people depend so much on celebrities when celebrities aren't in the streets. Like, they don't deal with, or, you know, they're not experiencing the same things that we're experiencing. And he said, so he doesn't understand why, you know, people are depending on them so much, you know, to come out and make a statement or so on and so forth when they're not living the life that we're living. You know, they have resources, oh my gosh, like out of this world. And so I talked about this on a previous podcast about, you know, celebrities and the whole thing with, you know, being quarantined. Like, y'all have, you know, they have basketball courts and pools and all types of stuff right, you know, at the tip of their fingers in their homes. So is quarantine really a thing for them? You know, is that really bad for them when you have everything, you know, that we would like to go to? You know, you have those things at the tip of your fingers. So, you know, are you really struggling, you know, in quarantine like, you know, like we are? Kind of thing. And so I think that's what he was touching on, is like, why are people so dependent on celebrities speaking out about something they're not necessarily experiencing? And so it was very interesting to me. I see both sides, because regardless if, you know, you have celebrity status, regardless if you have riches and you're famous and, you know, all this other stuff, you still black. You're still black. And at the end of the day, I think racial inequality and racial, you know, injustice has to deal with human decency. If you have any type of compassion in your heart, you know what I'm saying? If you have any care or compassion for a human life, then you will understand this matter. You know what I'm saying? But I do see where he's coming from in terms of we holding celebrities to this high standard of speaking on behalf of the black community when they're not dealing with these issues like we are, you know? So I know, I thought it was very interesting, and I definitely encourage you to go watch that and kind of develop your own thoughts and opinions about what he had to say. I thought it was really interesting. And speaking of celebrities speaking out about what's going on, I know y'all have heard about the whole battle or beef between, I wouldn't even call it beef because I don't necessarily think they're beefing, but J. Cole and Noname. So a little while back, Noname, I guess, called out celebrities for, you know, not using their platform to speak about, you know, the issues going on in our world. So recently, J. Cole just dropped this song called Snow on the Bluff. And a lot of people saw that as him kind of taking a stab at Noname for calling him out. So I just want to read a few lines. He says, let's see. He said, she's mad at the celebrities. Low-key, I be thinking she talking about me. Now, I ain't no dummy to think I'm above criticism. So when I see something that's valid, I listen. But Sugar Honey Iced Tea is something about the queen tone that's bothering me. Woo, child. So y'all know people went in. I mean, the black women went in. You know, it was all kind of, you know, they thought what he said was, you know, misogynist, and you know, Twitter has this new read the room quote or trend, which kind of speaks to the fact that, you know, learn the environment, kind of see what's going on and act accordingly. So a lot of people said he should have read the room. And it kind of came from a place of, you know, we have people dying, you know, black women are being raped and killed, you know, so on and so forth. And you decided to come out and talk about a woman's tone. People weren't feeling it, especially women were not feeling it. And so some people said they kind of took it as he was critiquing his own self. Some people said they felt like he was, you know, addressing the entire black community. And so, yes, there was this huge debate on Twitter between Noname fans, J. Cole fans, black women, black men. So then a few days later, Noname responded with a song. J. Cole's song was called Snow on the Bluff, and her song was called Song 33. She said, but Niggas in the back, quiet as a church mouse. Basement studio when duty calls to get the verse out. I guess the ego hurt now. It's time to go to work. Wow, look at him go. He really about to write about me when the world is in smokes, when it's people in trees. When George was begging for his mother saying he couldn't breathe, you thought to write about me. So yes, a lot of people were feeling it. A lot of people loved her response to J. Cole's song. So after J. Cole received a lot of backlash, he came out and he said, and I believe this was the next day, actually, after he dropped the song. He said, morning, I stand behind every word of the song that dropped last night. I haven't done a lot of reading, and I don't feel well equipped as a leader in these times, but I do a lot of thinking. And I appreciate her and others like her because they challenge my beliefs, and I feel that in these times, that's important. We may not agree with each other, but we got to be gentle with each other. And so then, surprisingly, after Noname dropped her song, she actually apologized. She said, I've been thinking a lot about it, and I am not proud with myself for responding with Song 33. I tried to use it as a moment to draw attention back to the issues I care about, but I didn't have to respond. My ego got the best of me. I apologize for any further distraction this caused. So here's my thing, and I don't want to speak on this too much. So I am a black woman, and yes, I am all for protecting black women. Do I think that J. Cole should have, read the room and maybe that was the wrong time to release the song? Absolutely. And it's funny, I was listening to The Breakfast Club and Charlamagne made the joke. He was like, as a black man, you should know never to question a black woman's tone. Like that's just a thing, like an unspoken rule, almost like, you don't ask a woman's age. I think that's an unspoken rule. You just don't ask a black woman about her tone. You just don't do it. Like you don't ask a black woman to lower her voice or to relax while she's telling you her thoughts, her opinions, her feelings. You just don't do it. You're asking for a world of hell. So yeah, I do think that he, if he was going to release a song, maybe it was the wrong time to do it. Yes, absolutely, especially with things that are going wrong or going on in the world right now. I do agree with that. Now, I do respect him for kind of coming out and saying, look, I stand by every word. He's like, I accept the criticism, I accept the conversation, but, I stand by that. So I think, I respect that because I think a lot of celebrities cave, when it comes to criticism or, critiques and so on and so forth. They apologize. And more times than none, they're apologizing because of the backlash and not because they really mean it. So, I can respect the fact that he came out and said, I stand on every word. And at the end of the day, whether he was talking about Noname or whether he was talking about, the black community as a whole, if those are his feelings, he has that right. He is entitled to his feelings. He's entitled to his opinion. And I respect him for standing behind that. Now, could you have, done that at a more appropriate time? Absolutely. And there are some people who probably believe that, there is no appropriate time for that. But there's all types of diss and beefs, in the rap community. Like if that's his truth, if that's what he believes, then so be it. And for those who believe, he is a misogynist or what he said was misogynistic, and that he doesn't protect black women, you have the right to feel that way as well. Now, I also can say that I respect J. Cole because he has been on the front lines, fighting for black lives. We saw him at these different protests, and this is not something that J. Cole uses as a photo op. He doesn't post about it. He doesn't tweet. He doesn't post his picture on Instagram. He just shows up, and people take pictures. So, I can respect that. And I can respect that J. Cole is proactive, that he's been, like I say, he's been on the front lines, and it doesn't just pop up when, things happen. He's been on the front lines. He's been proactive. And honestly, a lot of the things that he does, he doesn't seek media coverage. And I think it shows, it speaks for, his authenticity for his work, in the community. So I think in this regard, everybody has, their right to their opinion. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And could he have dropped it at a different time? Absolutely. At a more appropriate time? Absolutely. And so shout out to Noname, for expressing her opinions and kind of coming back and saying, look, I think this was, an inappropriate time. So out of everything that's happening right now, you chose to talk about me. That's her right, and respect to her for that. for her dropping that response. And again, she is entitled to her own, opinions. I was a little shocked that she apologized. Because it's kind of like you spoke your truth. Why did we need an apology for that? If that's your truth and you feel, why would he say something about me? Why are you talking about me when we have all this stuff going on in the world? If that's how you feel, honey, speak your truth and stand behind that. No need to apologize. Regardless if you're doing bad or good, people gonna come at you. You're always gonna get criticism and backlash, and you're always gonna have haters. So if that's your truth, honey, stand in it. Now, what I can say, I think, and I listened to the Breakfast Club talk about this. No, actually, it was on Rumor Report with Angelia, and Charlamagne was kind of giving his take on it too. So obviously, I guess Noname was, supposedly calling out J. Cole, and then he made the song to call her out for calling him out, and then she made the song to call him out for calling her out for calling him out. So at this point, ain't y'all calling each other out for doing the same thing? Everybody you just going back and forth, calling each other out. And if you really want to be real, with the whole back and forth thing, are y'all not taking away, attention from what's happening? That's what the argument was with J. Cole. Like, you talking about Noname, and there's a whole bunch of stuff going on, right? All this stuff going on in the world. Black women are being raped. Black men are being killed. Black women are being killed. And, they still haven't arrested, the murderers of Breonna Taylor. Why would you make a song about Noname? But, we could say the same thing about Noname. If you stand behind, the fact that we need to pay attention to the bigger issues, and then you drop a song addressing somebody, for doing just what you're doing, I'm a little confused at both of y'all. Y'all calling each other out for doing the same thing. So, again, I think, everybody has, a right to their own opinion. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But the bottom line is, and I think this is what both of them were trying to get at, is that there are bigger issues in the world that we need to be concerned about. Other than rap beef. Yes, black women are being murdered. Black women are being raped. Black women are disappearing. Black lives are being taken from us, right in front of our eyes. Things need to happen. They still have not arrested the murderers of Breonna Taylor. We don't need rap beefs right now. We need change. We need justice. We need equality. So I think we need to focus on the bigger picture. And the bigger issues at hand. And that goes back to my point, on my last episode. We got to think about unity and unifying at this point. I think now is the most important time. It's so imperative for us to be unified. That's how we're going to attack this. I think the best way possible. That's just my opinion. So I don't know, just my take. I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts. But that's y'all's dose of MASH for today. I enjoyed myself, and I hope y'all enjoyed yourselves too. And I will catch you on the next episode. Thanks for listening.
Let me get the mic. Honey, I got something to say. Hey, ooh, I like that. Can you turn that up for me? Hey. No, like, it's Maja. But Maj for short. Ask Maj.